I'd done really nothing about blew our marriage to smithereens.
Barely a year after Keith Urban admitted to nearly jeopardizing his marriage to Nicole Kidman, he appears to have crossed the line entirely, and the public has witnessed Nicole visibly upset on Instagram Live. How did a couple that once seemed inseparable end up publicly confronting each other? The reality behind the fairy tale. When their separation was officially announced on September 29, 2025, the world was shocked. Here was a couple who seemed to have beaten the odds in Hollywood. 19 years of marriage, 2 daughters, and a bond that looked unbreakable. Yet, as more information surfaced, it became evident that the seemingly perfect relationship had been quietly deteriorating for years. The breakdown of their marriage is far more intricate and poignant than many could have imagined. It involves 2 highly accomplished individuals whose demanding careers, personal challenges, and the pressures of fame created a divide that even their profound love could not bridge. To understand how things reached this point, we need to revisit the beginning, the moment an Australian actress and a country music star connected amidst the chaos of Hollywood. It was January 2005, at the Jedi USA Gala in Los Angeles, where Nicole Kidman and Keith Urban first met. The event, which celebrated Australian talent in Hollywood, brought together 2 individuals who would go on to become one of the industry's most admired couples.
So I'm going to speak to a little bit about a particular view I get of Nick for a long time now. But I'll start with the fact that we met in January 2005. We were being honoured at this event called G'day LA, which sounds a bit like a pickup line from Crocodile Dundee.
But here's where the story gets interesting, and perhaps where the first seeds of their eventual troubles were planted.
We chatted very briefly. I was trying to play it cool, but inside I felt like I'd snuck into the royal ball, simply because Nick had such a truly otherworldly aura about her, and I felt a bit like I was meeting a real-life princess.
From the start, Urban's insecurities were evident.
Despite all of that, I did manage to get her phone number on a tiny piece of paper, and I carried that number in my pocket for well over a week. I'd pull it out and look at it, put it back in my pocket. I was scared.
From the very beginning, Keith Urban carried a sense of vulnerability and self-doubt, a feeling of unworthiness that would repeatedly surface throughout their relationship, sometimes in profoundly damaging ways even 2 decades later. Their early courtship resembled a romantic movie. Kidman, recovering from her painful divorce from Tom Cruise, was drawn to a musician who appeared to provide what her previous marriage had lacked: genuine warmth, shared Australian roots, and a partner seemingly unthreatened by her success. Or so it seemed.
It turned out that this mystic creature was really just a wide-eyed, vivacious, giddy girl from the Sydney suburbs, and despite being born in Honolulu, she was utterly Aussie through and through.
They married on June 25, 2006, in an elaborate ceremony in Sydney attended by 230 guests, including Hugh Jackman and Russell Crowe. Kidman wore a striking Balenciaga gown, while Urban serenaded her with Making Memories of Us. Everything appeared flawless. However, the illusion of perfection soon began to crack. Just 4 months into their marriage, Urban's long-standing struggles with alcohol and cocaine resurfaced, putting their union at serious risk.
Barely 4 months into our marriage, my addictions that I'd done really nothing about blew our marriage to smithereens, and I went into the Betty Ford Center for 3 months. 4 months into a marriage, I'm in rehab for 3 months.
This period would come to define much of their relationship. Demonstrating the resilience and dedication that would become her hallmark, Kidman organized an intervention. Urban would later reflect on this as a life-saving act of love.
No idea what was going to happen to us. And if you want to see what love in action really looks like, give that a whirl. Nick pushed through every negative voice, I'm sure even some of her own, and she chose love.
These words, spoken in an interview prior to their separation, now carry a haunting significance. Urban had been trying to communicate something, expressing concern not only for Kidman's well-being but perhaps for the health of their marriage. However, amid the demands of their careers and family responsibilities, his message may have been lost. The passing of Kidman's mother, Janelle, in September 2024, added another layer of grief and pressure to an already delicate situation.
Choose projects because I feel compelled to tell the story, or I'm really, really interested in the person who is the director or the writer or the group of actors.
Kidman had always recognized the importance of maintaining balance. "Do you feel like you're constantly doing that?" she was asked. "All the time. Yeah, she responded. Yet, despite this awareness and her best intentions, the balance had shifted too far. Her career, particularly in recent years, demanded more of her than ever before. The roles she undertook were not only professionally challenging, but also emotionally and physically taxing, requiring her to delve deeply into herself and leaving little energy for other aspects of her life."
Yeah. And there's times in which you can balance it and you do less, and then you can do a little more and you do less, and finding that balance is part of the journey because you make mistakes, you overdo it. So then you go, okay, now I've got to go and take care of this part of my life because it's suffered, and so that it's constantly rebalancing.
As of 2025, Urban has maintained sobriety for nearly 19 years, reflecting both his dedication and Kidman's steadfast support. Yet, a lingering question remains. Did that early crisis create a dynamic in which one partner was always the rescuer and the other always in need of saving? Could it have established an imbalance that eventually became unsustainable? As they continued building their family, with the birth of Sunday Rose in 2008 and Faith Margaret in 2010, they presented a united front to the public. They appeared together at countless red carpet events, with Urban supporting Kidman's acting career and Kidman advocating for Urban's music. "We found each other in this huge world and were crazy about each other," Urban once reflected. But behind the scenes, cracks were forming. Urban's rigorous touring and Kidman's international filming schedules meant they spent more time apart. The very careers that had brought them together were increasingly pulling them in different directions.
I overdid it here, now I got to balance here.
Yeah, and probably the thing I'll do, and my husband's always saying, take care of yourself, Nicole.
That's what he tells you?
Yeah.
Take care of yourself.
Her mother's final advice, to take care of herself, likely resonated deeply with Kidman during those lonely summer months in London. Yet, how does one care for themselves when a marriage is collapsing? How does one process grief and heartbreak simultaneously, especially when the person who should provide comfort is the one withdrawing? Friends of the couple have revealed that the split was no secret, with many within Urban's circle considering it inevitable. This made the situation particularly painful for Kidman, suggesting that while she may have been blindsided, others had anticipated the end. Was she in denial, or simply too occupied with work and family to notice the signs that seemed obvious to everyone else? Their last public appearance together took place on June 20th, 2025, at a FIFA Club World Cup match in Nashville. They appeared affectionate, but body language experts later observed subtle signs of strain. Minimal eye contact, self-soothing gestures from Kidman, and an overall sense of disconnection. These were not dramatic confrontations, but reflected the quiet erosion of intimacy as the couple drifted apart. Social media offered additional clues. On June 25, 2025, Kidman shared a loving anniversary tribute on Instagram, posting a black and white photo of them together with the caption, "Happy anniversary, baby." Urban, however, did not post a corresponding tribute on his platforms, a notable departure from previous years that now appears as a clear warning sign. By August 2025, Kidman's Instagram Summer Memories recap included her daughters and extended family but excluded Urban entirely. The impact on their daughters, Sunday Rose, 17, and Faith Margaret, 14, is significant. Sources indicate that Kidman has been relying heavily on her daughters for emotional support, with the three remaining closely connected over the summer while Urban toured. While this closeness underscores the strength of Kidman's bond with her children, it also highlights the difficult reality that she has been navigating heartbreak while striving to provide stability for her daughters during their formative years. Kidman has also leaned on her sister Antonia, who has served as a steady source of support during this challenging period. The Kidman family has always been tight-knit, and that foundation has been crucial as Nicole manages one of the most difficult moments in her life. Even with this support, however, the emotional toll of a marriage ending, especially one she worked so hard to preserve, must be considerable. The financial implications of the split are also substantial. The couple's combined net worth exceeds $325 million, including 11 properties valued at roughly $56 million. From their $4 million Nashville mansion to a $16 million penthouse in Sydney, these assets represent more than financial investments. They embody the life they built together. Each property holds memories from their 19 years of marriage, holidays, family gatherings, and quiet moments now subject to division. As of September 30th, 2025, no divorce papers have been filed, prompting speculation about the possibility of reconciliation. One source noted that divorce might not be imminent, suggesting that love remains between them and that they may still find a path forward. This small glimmer of hope implies that the foundation of love built over nearly 2 decades could still provide a basis for rebuilding. Yet, hope must be weighed against reality. Sources describe the separation as largely one-sided. Kidman is actively trying to save the marriage, while Urban has reportedly moved on emotionally. This fundamental disconnect, one partner clinging to the relationship while the other has already let go, is perhaps the most heartbreaking aspect. While such dynamics occur in many relationships, when they happen to a couple who once seemed so perfectly matched and had weathered numerous challenges, the situation feels particularly devastating. As news of Nicole Kidman and Keith Urban's separation spread globally, public reaction was immediate and intense. On social media platform X, formerly Twitter, fans expressed shock, sadness, and frustration. One user even compared the news to Australia's 9/11, while others criticized Urban, suggesting he had lost something truly extraordinary. The strength of these reactions reflects how invested people had become in the couple's love story and how much the public wanted to believe that true love could endure, even in Hollywood. Beyond the headlines, this situation highlights the unrealistic expectations placed on celebrity relationships and offers lessons about love, commitment, and the sacrifices required to balance a partnership with individual identities under intense pressure. Comparisons to other high-profile divorces are inevitable. Unlike the protracted, contentious 8-year legal battle between Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie, which involved custody disputes and abuse allegations, Kidman and Urban's separation appears relatively amicable. There are no public accusations of infidelity or misconduct, just 2 individuals whose paths diverged to the point where remaining together became more painful than separating. In this regard, their split is somewhat reminiscent of Gwyneth Paltrow and Chris Martin's Conscious Uncoupling, where friendship and co-parenting took precedence over assigning blame. Yet there is a key distinction. While Paltrow and Martin mutually agreed to part ways, Kidman was reportedly blindsided by Urban's decision. This one-sided nature adds complexity and emotional difficulty, making reconciliation more challenging. When one partner has already emotionally disengaged while the other is striving to preserve the relationship, navigating the future, together or apart, becomes significantly more complicated. The separation also draws comparisons to Kidman's first marriage to Tom Cruise. That 11-year union, which ended in 2001, was heavily scrutinized by the public and reportedly influenced by Scientology. Kidman described that split as shocking and traumatic, leaving her cautious in subsequent relationships. Yet with Urban, she consciously chose to remain open-hearted. In a 2021 Harper's Bazaar interview, she acknowledged past hurts but emphasized a warm approach rather than shutting down, telling Urban that her heart was open when they met. Now, facing another profound heartbreak, questions naturally arise about how this experience might shape her willingness to be vulnerable in future relationships. The influence of their careers on the marriage's decline cannot be overstated. Urban's extensive touring and Kidman's demanding filming schedule created a significant physical and emotional distance. His High and Alive World Tour, beginning in May 2025, kept him on the road for months, while Kidman filmed Practical Magic 2 in London, living in a luxurious mansion without Urban. This was not a temporary arrangement. It reflected years of prioritizing individual careers over couple time, culminating in the strain that contributed to their separation.
On the final words my mama said, which I didn't know were going to be the final words, I was going to get on a plane and go back to see her. And she was like, maybe wait a minute, because I think, you just need to take care of yourself right now, Nikki. So I'm doing that more.
Kidman's dedication to her craft was undeniable, yet it came at a cost. Meanwhile, Urban was experiencing a professional resurgence with tours that often kept him away for months. The couple had long cited communication as their key strength. It was great to find a naughty girl. I love that there's balance in my life. I've truly never had that before, Urban noted. However, over time, maintaining that balance grew challenging. Phone calls and FaceTime could not fully replace physical presence and genuine intimacy. By 2024 and early 2025, Kidman's career took a notably bolder turn. Her roles in films like Baby Girl and A Family Affair included explicit scenes that reportedly made Urban uncomfortable. Sources suggest he struggled to reconcile these portrayals with his image of her as his wife. A notable incident occurred in July 2024, when Urban abruptly ended a radio interview after being questioned about Kidman's on-screen intimate scenes. The tension surrounding Kidman's career choices added another layer of strain to an already challenging relationship. Was Urban being controlling, or was he raising a legitimate boundary concern? Were Kidman's professional ambitions unintentionally taking precedence over their marriage? These questions have no simple answers and illustrate the difficult balance many couples in the entertainment industry face. By early summer 2025, the couple had begun living separately. Urban was on his High and Alive world tour, performing across the United States, while Kidman was filming Practical Magic 2 in London, residing in a lavish $65,000 per month mansion. The physical distance between them had never been greater, and the emotional gap was widening just as quickly. Urban acquired a separate residence in Nashville, apart from their family home, a move insiders describe as a critical turning point. This separation was no longer about convenience or work schedules. It marked a moment when Urban decided he needed space, reaching conclusions about their marriage that Kidman had not yet confronted. According to multiple sources, Kidman was completely blindsided by his decision. The summer of 2025 became one of the most challenging periods of Kidman's life since her divorce from Tom Cruise nearly 25 years earlier. While Urban toured the U.S., performing to sold-out audiences unaware of his personal struggles, Kidman faced life alone in London, confronting a reality she never anticipated. The woman who had supported Urban through his darkest times, including saving him from the brink of addiction, now faced the possibility that even the deepest, most enduring love might not be enough. Sources close to the couple indicate that Urban initiated the separation, leaving Kidman devastated and striving to preserve their marriage. Keith wasn't happy in the marriage, one insider revealed, and had to confront her about it. This confrontation, reportedly occurring in front of friends, must have been extremely difficult for both parties. Urban was finally expressing frustrations he had likely carried for an extended period, while Kidman faced the painful realization that the partnership she had invested her heart and soul into was unraveling. The reasons behind their separation suggest a marriage, gradually strained by the very elements that were meant to strengthen it. Multiple sources indicate that a significant factor was a lack of intimacy. Keith never sees Nicole. Either she is filming or he is on tour, one source explained. However, this extended beyond mere physical absence. It reflected a deeper emotional disconnect. They are just going through the motions, another insider noted, describing two individuals who had become like strangers, living parallel lives rather than nurturing a shared one. What makes this especially poignant is the effort both invested in trying to make the relationship succeed.
You think part of why you are so prolific, that you work so much now, is that sense that time is fleeting?
Probably. Yeah, probably. And also, I have a lot inside. I think the way I connect is through stories and storytelling and playing people and having the opportunity to reach out in this quite isolated world now. And it's my way of connecting and my way of understanding and my way of building more and more understanding of what it means to be a human being.
Kidman's drive to work, create, and tell stories goes beyond ambition or career success. It shapes how she understands the world and her place within it. But when that drive conflicts with the needs of a marriage, when professional fulfillment comes at the expense of intimate connection, something inevitably suffers. In this case, the marriage appears to have been the casualty. Kidman's recent pivot to more explicit, challenging roles, including films like Baby Girl and A Family Affair, reportedly added further tension. Sources suggest Urban felt uneasy with these roles, struggling to reconcile her on-screen intimacy with his perception of her as his wife. This situation raises complex questions about boundaries, professional freedom, and the compromises couples must navigate when one partner's career choices make the other uncomfortable. Was Urban being controlling, or were his feelings reasonable? Was Kidman entitled to pursue roles that fulfilled her artistically, even if they unsettled her spouse? These questions have no easy answers, highlighting the challenge of maintaining individual identity within a partnership. The future of their relationship remains uncertain. Urban's next tour stop was scheduled for October 2, 2025, in Hershey, Pennsylvania, while Kidman continued working in London. Their professional commitments persist, yet the emotional work of processing this separation has only just begun. With no divorce papers filed, the door to reconciliation remains technically open, though the emotional and psychological distance between them suggests that door may be closing. What can we learn from the dissolution of a marriage that seemed to have it all? Perhaps the most important lesson is that love, no matter how deep or committed, is not always enough to sustain a marriage. Practical realities, time apart, conflicting priorities, and evolving personal needs can gradually erode even the strongest foundation. Urban and Kidman's story illustrates that some relationships end not due to dramatic betrayals or explosive conflicts, but because two people, who once fit together perfectly slowly, grow into versions of themselves that no longer align. The public's reaction to their separation underscores how deeply we invest in celebrity, relationships as symbols of hope and possibility. When fans express anger at Urban or heartbreak over the split, they are not merely reacting to the end of a famous couple, they are mourning a narrative they wanted to believe in. If Nicole and Keith, who seemed so perfect together and had weathered so much, could not make it work, what hope does that leave for the rest of us? This projection of personal hopes and fears onto celebrity couples is natural, yet it is ultimately unfair to the real people experiencing these very human challenges. Looking at Kidman's history, this separation represents her second major romantic loss. Her divorce from Tom Cruise in 2001 also left her blindsided and heartbroken. Yet from that experience came not only her Oscar-winning performance in The Hours, but eventually her relationship with Urban. The question now becomes, what will arise from this latest heartbreak? Will it inspire her art in new and meaningful ways? Will it lead her toward another transformative love? Or will it finally prompt her to focus on herself in ways she has not before? Words spoken by Kidman prior to the public announcement of the separation now feel almost prophetic. For decades, she has prioritized the care of others, her children, her husband, her extended family, and the characters she brings to life on screen. Perhaps this difficult chapter will finally compel her to follow her mother's advice. Take care of yourself. Comparisons to other high-profile separations offer context. Unlike Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie's 8-year legal battle, which involved custody disputes and abuse allegations, or Kevin Costner and Christine Baumgartner's contentious split over finances, Kidman and Urban's separation appears to be unfolding more peacefully. Their approach seems to reflect what Gwyneth Paltrow and Chris Martin termed conscious uncoupling, a deliberate, thoughtful method of ending a marriage that emphasizes respect and shared responsibilities rather than conflict. While this mature approach does not lessen the emotional pain, it indicates a foundation of genuine care that extends beyond the romantic relationship. After all, Kidman and Urban will continue to co-parent Sunday Rose and Faith Margaret for many years to come. The girls are at pivotal ages, 17 and 14, where they need both parents actively present and engaged. How Kidman and Urban navigate this transition will profoundly shape their daughter's understanding of relationships, conflict resolution, and the meaning of love even when romantic partnership is no longer possible. For Kidman, this separation coincides with a period of significant professional achievement. Her recent work in projects such as The Perfect Couple and the upcoming Practical Magic 2 underscores her enduring relevance and influence in Hollywood. At 58, she remains one of the industry's most respected and bankable stars. This professional stability may offer some comfort amid personal challenges, while also prompting reflection on whether career demands contributed to the marriage's difficulties. For Urban, the separation occurs as he continues to tour and create music that resonates with millions. His 2024 album High drew inspiration from past experiences and celebrated his journey of sobriety. It remains to be seen if his next project will similarly process this new chapter of loss and transformation, much like his earlier work reflected his relationship with Kidman. The question of reconciliation persists, with no divorce papers filed as of September 30th, 2025. Legally, the door remains open, but emotional reconciliation is far more complicated. Urban has reportedly moved on emotionally, establishing a separate residence and life, while Kidman continues to fight for the marriage, caught between acceptance and hope. This imbalance, one partner ready to let go while the other clings, is perhaps the most painful dynamic in any separation. As this chapter closes and new ones begin, both Kidman and Urban will carry forward the lessons from their 19 years together. They shared genuine love, endured real crises, built a beautiful family, and supported each other through countless challenges. That foundation does not vanish simply because the romantic relationship has ended. It evolves, transforming into something that honors what they created while allowing both to move forward. For those observing from the outside, their story offers no simple answers or tidy conclusions. Instead, it reflects universal struggles with balance, commitment, and the ongoing challenge of maintaining individual identity within a partnership. Perhaps the ultimate lesson is that there are no perfect relationships or guaranteed happily ever afters. Only the daily work of choosing love, presence, and showing up for partners, family, and ultimately oneself.